Hi guys. Due to popular demand, I'm going to demonstrate how to create the CompSci database, or actually any database from a script. We're just using CompSci here because you'll notice I have the CompSci database script open in my code window. That script is available on the network and it's also available on Canvas, so you can just download that. And so all I've done is go to File, Open, File, and then navigated to where that is, CompSci with password. I've saved it on my local drive, open, and here it is. It's open right here. I'm going to close this extra little window, and here I have my script. So this script, notice right off the bat, it says use CompSci, so that means that we have to create the database before we run the script. So I'm going to right-click on my databases folder, say new database, and I'm just going to use all the defaults, but I'm going to call my database CompSci. I don't have a database by that name already. I'm just going to say OK, accept all the defaults. Now I have CompSci Karen. I'm going to refresh. And there it is right there. It's empty. What I have to do is make my script know, however, that I want to use CompSci Karen. So I'm going to double click where it says CompSci. And I'm going to go to Edit, Find and Replace, Quick Replace, all instances of CompSci where it says find what, and I'm going to replace that with the name of my database, CompSci Camera. I'm just going to go ahead and say replace all, and it only found 2 occurrences, which is fine. I'm going to close both of these windows, and now it's going to try to use CompSci Karen. So I'm going to make sure that nothing is highlighted and click execute. And you notice that what's happened is we get a bunch of messages that the script has sent us, that it's added a bunch of rows, and as long as we don't see any red here with an error message, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my CompSci Karen database. I'm going to refresh once again just to make sure I have a refreshed copy. I'm going to scroll down on CompSci Karen on tables, and if I take a look and right click and edit top 200 rows of my classes table, all my data is there. If I right click and look at my students table, all the data is there. So that's the back-end database for our ASP CompSci application. And now the next order of business might be that you would want to create a SQL Server login and password. I'm just closing my windows here. A SQL Server login and password for CompSci Karen so that we could attach a website to this without using Windows authentication. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the security folder under databases here, and I'm going to right click on logins, and remember what you have to do is create a login, a SQL Server login. So I'm going to, when I right click and say new login, I get this interface, and I'm going to say I want a SQL Server login. So I'm going to call this CS, just so I'll remember it. The password, I'm just going to make it CompSci. I think I spelled that the right way. And I'm going to click off all of these policies so that I don't have to change my password the next time. And then I'm going to go over, before I do anything else, I'm going to go over here on the left-hand side to user mapping. And I'm going to tell SQL Server to map this login to my CompSci Karen database. And while I'm at it, I'm going to tell it to make that user, the new user I just created, CS Karen, the DB owner of that database. And I'm going to say, OK. And what that does is it gives this new user administrative access to that database, which is probably overkill, but for this demo, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say OK. And so now, if I look at CompSci Karen and drill it down and look at security and users, there's CS Karen in the list. Now I'm going to go ahead to test this. I'm going to go up to where it says connect, and I'm going to say, or I'm going to actually right click and here on the server and say disconnect. I'm getting ahead of myself. And then I'm going to connect to the database engine. And this time I'm going to use SQL Server authentication. And I'm going to use that new user I created, CS Karen, with my password and connect. And see if I can see my CompSci database here. There's CompSci Karen. And since I'm the owner, I should be able to go in here and look at all the tables and insert, update, and delete if I want to, and have access. Now, if I take a look at other databases, it won't let me look at the other databases because I'm CompSci or CS Karen, and CS Karen is not a user in those other databases. Only CompSci Karen. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to connect this to Visual Studio.